Hey everybody, it is Wednesday night and I just realized it was as late as it is. I've been down here doing water changes and tinkering around with everything, and I was going to do an around the world update tonight. I did water changes on 4 tanks and I did some work on my waterfall tank here, but as I said, I just realized it's about 9 o'clock already, so there's no way I'd get an entire around the world update shot and uploaded and published tonight, so we'll worry about that one tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and give you another little update on my garden tank here. Last night was the first night I shot video on my new camera, and I have to say that I forgot to peel the little sticky film off of it. So if it looked blurry and funny, and I was even complaining about how blurry it looked, and I thought it was my eyes, it was not my eyes, it was my brain. I forgot to peel the little film off, and so we were videoing through that film. So tonight's video should be much clearer. This camera also seems to have a stabilizing software in it too, and I get a much steadier picture than I used to with my old camera, so I'm really happy about that. So all I really did tonight was another big water change on the tank. The water that's in there is still the original water that's been flowing over all of this curing silicone and everything else, so this is definitely not the water that's going to be in there when fish finally get in there. And even this water here, now that I've done this water change, this is not even going to be the water. It'll get probably a few more water changes. I got to get the tank cycled in and everything else. It'll be a little while before it's ready to go. So far tonight I just threw a couple bags of gravel in there. I threw a bunch of rocks that I had lying around. If you can see some of those rocks on the floor, made it in there, but a lot of them, if you can see, a lot of that was what looks like black material on the rocks. That's actually dried up green cyanobacteria, so I'll put those in a tank with some bleach or something for a few days before I put them in this tank. I know I'll get it anyway, it'll still come back, but at least I can, you know, slow it down a little bit and keep it from jumping in the tank. I can get it in there slowly. I threw the piece of woodwork in there that I found the other day. I actually kind of have that propped up against the bottom area. I also took that little branch that I had in there, stuck that in. I threw some water Sprite from my 125. We actually did a bunch of work on my 125 tonight. I got it really cleaned up, and I took a bunch of that water Sprite out of there. So don't forget, check my email down below if you're interested in any aquatic plants. I now have a ton of water Sprite available in addition to my usual Java Fern. So we got that taken care of. I got the fish room cleaned up a little bit, and we started tinkering around with just, again, more ideas, more food for thought. This isn't really how it's going to be when it's all said and done, but we're getting there. And I also want to point out, if you'll remember in my previous videos, how I talked about some white spots that would occur. Let me try to zoom in here rather than lean in front of the light. If I get too much in front of the light, it'll wash the video out. But if you can see right in there, you see how sort of white that looks to the left of the rock? That's all of that other sealant. It's the non-silicon based sealant that is not meant to be submerged. Now that's not really submerged, and honestly, if it really leaked through there a little bit and got into the, you know, foam below it, it's not really going to go anywhere. But that kind of stuff annoys me, so at some point we're going to shut this down again, dry it out, and I'm going to have to go back in there, and I can even see a couple little spots right in here where there's a few little white dots that are left, and I know for a fact that there's a couple little spots up here that had some white dots on them. I took a spray bottle, a mister, like a plant mister this morning, and I spritzed the whole thing down and got it all wet just to make sure I wasn't going to get any food coloring weeping out of it. I didn't want to find any more of those white spots, and so on and so forth. So we're pretty much getting there. I'm almost satisfied with the waterproof condition. It's been up and running for several days now. I don't have any leakage per se, but as I keep saying, those little white spots, those little white areas just sort of make me a little bit nervous. In fact, if you look right in here, you can see some little white areas right in there as well. So we're definitely not done, but we're getting close. I also took this piece of branch, I wedged that in there so we'd get a little bit of water flowing over that. I put a rock up to try to kind of hide the little planter that my flag iris is in. And this little piece here, I honestly believe this is a piece of petrified wood. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that to me absolutely looks like a piece of petrified wood. And I found this down at the stream a while ago, and I've hung on to this because I knew I'd be able to do something cool with it. I mean, it's almost like a water channel. So that's kind of why that's just sort of sitting there. You can see how it sort of catches some of the water and brings it down and sort of drips it down on the other end. And, you know, just adds a little more character, adds a little more splishing and splashing in there. And then, of course, if you'll see these two, I just stuck them in there so they'd have a place to be in the light. And the plants in there are going to get used. I've got some moss growing in here. I've got some creeping jenny growing in there. There's a bulb of some sort. I have no idea what it is, but there's a bulb that's come up in there. And I've also got some stone crop, and possibly even some fern might pop up in there. So don't know what we're going to get out of this container yet. It was out back, and it used to be in here in my garden area. So who knows what's still in it. And then, of course, you can see I just shoved a couple of fronds of the water sprite up there just to sort of disguise and soften the water splashing into the tank. I was getting quite a bit of splashing coming up and out of the tank, and that kind of took care of that for me. So that's it. That's as far as I've gotten today. Again, this was just sort of tinkering. I really didn't plan on shooting video about this because this wasn't anything special, honestly. This was just stuff I did while I was waiting on other tanks to drain or fill or whatever. And then I planned on doing my, you know, big round the world update. So that's just going to have to wait. I will also say that I've actually cleared out some space on the floor. I've begun cleaning up. So when I do my round the world update, I'm not going to be climbing over stuff while I do it. I even got rid of the electric cord that was hanging across there, and I've got it taped down on the floor so I can actually walk over that without tripping. So look forward to tomorrow's Round the World update. Make sure you subscribe. That way you won't miss it or anything else. And then, of course, there's always going to be projects here on my, progress. Couldn't think of the word I was looking for. There's always going to be progress here on my waterfall tank. And, of course, if you're subscribed, you won't miss any of that. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you tomorrow on my Round the World update.